Good morning. I'm Mehdi Standarji, and welcome to OETV's Crypto Dome. We're here with Adam Blumberg, co-founder at Interaxis. Adam, what's going on?
Good to see you, Mehdi. I was just talking about how quickly Wednesday came and how quickly Crypto Dome came, but that's a good thing because there's plenty to talk about. Good stuff happening today.
Do you know it's crazy, right? You sit there week to week and you go, how are we ever going to have anything to talk about on a weekly basis about crypto? But then when we start putting things together, there is a barrage of things to talk about.
Yeah, always, man. And it's getting to be more and more. It's getting to be to the point where, as we say, like it's just finance now. It's just happening every day. There's just always something.
It is. I feel like we're on CNBC now. Sorry, no plug for CNBC necessary. Lots to talk about. Shall we dive right in?
Let's jump in.
So you know what you say? It's like regular finance. Well, it's like regular politics and regular finance. The UK has recently been a complete mess in their prime minister selections and what's happening over there on one circumstance or another. But we now have Rishi Sunak as the new prime minister. I should say we. I am obviously a fellow Brit living here in the US, but I don't know if I can refer to myself as we anymore. But the UK has Rishi Sunak as their new prime minister. Now, historically, as the Chancellor, he was a very pro-crypto Chancellor under Boris Johnson. So he's now come in, and it's quite apparent that his support for crypto is going to continue. It seems like that UK lawmakers are already recognizing crypto in the UK as a regulated financial asset. Personally, I see this as being fantastic. I saw there was a little bump in crypto across the board yesterday, Bitcoin and ETH, everything had a little lift. Obviously, there was dollar index weakness associated with that as well. But I personally would like to throw a little bit in, a little shout out for the UK having something to do with it. But surely this move by the UK is going to help other governments start thinking a bit more logically about this and starts paving the way for some regulation and some adoption on a government level.
Right. I think you're right, Mehdi. Look, on the surface, it seems like a really good thing. First, you maybe have the end of this almost like a Monty Python sketch of prime ministers in the UK in your home. And I apologize for that, but you have to admit it kind of seemed a bit like that. People, I'll be the prime minister today. Not anymore. I'm done. Like that was fun. I got some stationery and some towels and I'm out. But now to have a prime minister who was previously chancellor of, remind me, it was a finance minister.
Finance minister. Okay.
Right. I forget how you all phrase everything, but I really like it.
He used to have a really lovely red briefcase he'd walk around with that highlighted his job title. But yeah, that's all good.
That's good. I mean, why not put a target on like the bull's going to catch him? Well, hopefully the bull does catch him, right? Like let's all bring it back around to crypto. Hopefully that red briefcase brings out the bulls, right? But yes, he was, notoriously, I guess, pro crypto, taking crypto, making it part of the financial system, saw the merits to it. And now he is prime minister. Now, I do have to hold back a little bit of reservation because we were excited when Gary Gensler was made head of the SEC because he actually taught blockchain classes at MIT. And we were excited that someone who knew crypto and knew blockchain and had actually in the past said, these are not securities, was head of the SEC. And here's where we are now. So I have to have a little bit of reservation in that, knowing that, okay, it's a lot different when you are chancellor of the exchequer versus prime minister of the country. And now you have to now the entire economy, I don't say the entire economy, but much of the economy is on your shoulders because that's a little bit what sent the previous, 2-3 prime ministers out the door is issues with the economy and trying to remake it and trying to break away from the EU. And so now it's a little bit different when the entire economy is on you and you got to go, all right, well, I'm pro crypto and here's how we're going to implement it. But it does seem like in very quick time, they've already moved on it. Right, as you said, they've already recognized the fact that it has to be an asset class that is regulated by their regulatory bodies. They've already said that, and now it's their chance to actually go regulate it.
I think what you've just said in that statement is that you're implying that UK politicians might have a little bit more integrity in what they say than US politicians.
I am hoping that UK politicians have a little bit more integrity. How about
All right.
that? I have no data to back up whether or not they do.
Fisticuffs there, Texan boy.
Yeah.
Younger people. So younger people have been talking about crypto exposure in their 401ks. We know that every crypto dome seems to mention Fidelity at some point. Fidelity's kind of been leading a charge in this as the big elephant in the room on how to access 401ks and increasing their exposure. Alongside of this, so this is kind of like a two-pegged conversation, right? We've got younger people wanting more exposure, fantastic, and that's kind of what we expected. We also had Fidelity in the conversation. Now, Fidelity is also offering more services to its investors in crypto, including a new Ethereum index fund, which will be launched on Friday. This is fantastic. This is, again, we're seeing broader-based adoption.
Right. And look, from the retirement plan standpoint, the Gen Z, the younger people want crypto in their retirement plan. They're disenchanted with stocks, with the traditional investments. Of course, they like crypto. It's more volatile. They've got it in their Robinhood apps. They've got Coinbase, and they want it in their retirement plans. And it kind of fits the model, right? It kind of fits this long-term look at crypto. And as you said, we always have to mention Fidelity. Earlier this year, back in April, they said we're going to allow up to 20% Bitcoin in 401k plans. And the report you're referencing is actually from Schwab. And ironically, Fidelity and Schwab getting together with Citadel and creating an exchange coming up soon. So the numbers and the data from this report kind of go to what we've already known, is that younger investors do want crypto. They want alternative assets, and crypto is one of them. They like the volatility. They, of course, wanted to go up tremendously in value, just like when I was the age of the Gen Zs back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I wanted more access to internet stocks. I wanted to get in on IPOs through E-Trade. It's the same thing that Gen Zs want. It's something new and different, and they understand it. They're more digitally native. So, of course, they want it. You mentioned also Fidelity. Fidelity not only has an Ethereum fund, but they're actually starting to give clients access to actual Ethereum. They can actually own ETH in their accounts now, in addition to Bitcoin. So these are big moves. And as I think you said, there's some moves in crypto this week. Bitcoin, I think, is up maybe 7% in the last day. ETH is up like 13% in the last day.
And Adam, one of the things that, speaking to young people, I used to be one at some point, speaking to Brendan just sold his truck for Bitcoin. Oh, okay. So, and his house. So, okay, no, that's someone else, another caller coming. So we're getting live questions coming in from left, right, and center, and people are actually selling their existing assets to purchase Bitcoin. So that's got to be a good sign. One of the things in the mindset of young people that kind of made me think, was a look back to Warren Buffett 15, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, right? It's almost like a value investor. You look at Coca-Cola and you think this has got huge growth potential over the next 20, 40 years. I want to be a shareholder in Coca-Cola. Off you go, because you can see that projection of adoption of soft drinks that are coming in, and they're going to be, in every household. We look at the younger generation is looking at things like Ethereum, Bitcoin, and other crypto assets. And while there's widespread adoption today in many ways, the view is that over the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, it's going to become part of our lives in one way or other. So why wouldn't you want part of your 401k retirement fund exposed to that? Not necessarily just for the volatility and everything, but just for the longer term capital gain over a 30, 40 year period. If you have 5, 7% of your 401k exposed to these types of assets away from the traditionals, it gives you the real opportunity to have some upside. And in something that you're seeing already being adopted.
Right. And you and your friends are probably using it, right? You and your friends probably, did things like play around with NFTs, but you're probably sending crypto to each other. You're probably doing things like that already. And of course, then you see, obviously, this is going to be a big deal. I can't believe more people aren't adopting this. I can't believe people don't see the value here. And of course, you're going to want to invest in that, because in the long term, that adoption that you think is so obvious if you're a younger person, that the older generation doesn't quite get yet. So that's where you get that investment asymmetry, right? That ability for that asymmetric risk that says, look, I don't feel like I'm taking that much of a risk. My friends and I are using this all the time. We totally get it. This is where we want to save our money. It completely makes sense. Again, when you and I were investing, possibly back in the late 90s and early 2000s, and to me, the internet seemed obvious. Amazon seemed obvious. I bought things on it, even though it seemed like maybe it wasn't safe and it was odd. I used eBay quite a bit. So it seemed obvious to invest in things in the internet, just like people who, early on in the days of smartphones, invested in app-based companies. Right, you saw Uber and Airbnb coming, or you saw Spotify happening, and you go, oh, well, obviously I would want to invest in this. I use it every day. I love how Spotify works. So the people that use it and the people that are going to use it and see the obviousness of it, obviously are the ones who want to invest in it. In that respect, Mehdi, you're right. It's not about the volatility of speculation. It's actually about pretty sound investment principles.
Yeah, and it's almost looking at a value investment in crypto.
And I think you referred to Warren Buffett like 30 years ago as young, right? And
he's never been young.
He was still in his late 60s.
Okay. That's a fair point. Thank you for highlighting that. Yeah. Just that question we received about someone selling their truck and buying Bitcoin. I would love to ask, if you're still watching, if you could throw in, did you sell your truck for fiat currency and then go buy Bitcoin? Or did you just make an exchange? Yes. Okay. Sorry. Thank you. Wow. This live Q&A thing is amazing. So he did go via fiat and not just exchange his truck for some Bitcoin, which would have been...
Let's make this clear. We do not recommend selling assets like your truck in order to go buy more Bitcoin, assuming you need a truck. Right. If it's a spare truck you got lying around, you never use it, and you go, this thing's rotting, then, go sell your truck, or go sell whatever you can if you want to invest in Bitcoin. We are not advocating for selling your other assets to go buy Bitcoin at this price. So let's get that out of the way.
100%, throwing in every disclaimer possible. It was just more of a curiosity question on how the transaction had aspired, and it's interesting to see that it was via fiat. I would have loved to have heard that it was a direct transaction for Bitcoin, but he's actually also clarified he would have quite happily exchanged his truck for Bitcoin. So, the mindset's getting there. It's just sometimes the rails might not necessarily be there to be able to do it, but that's, again, adoption of the technology. Tel Aviv Stock Exchange. So, Adam, we have something else to add, or there was
no.
A hand going
I'm excited.
Up
let's talk about it.
So let's talk about it. So Tel Aviv Stock Exchange. A lot of countries, a lot of exchanges, everyone has kind of said, we want to be the crypto hub, and the UK is trying to make steps in that direction. We saw Portugal. We've seen a lot of European countries throwing up their hand, but no one's necessarily doing that much actively about it. But the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange has come out saying they want to lean into the blockchain and crypto asset world. And they've put together a very comprehensive plan to really get involved in this technology. And, they are a technology-based country. They're wealthy. They're a wealthy nation. They aren't in need to do this for balancing their fiat currency or anything. So I think this is a really big move of someone of their stature, being this organized in how they're approaching this.
Yeah, and you're right. They've been very tech-based economy. Now, and keep in mind, very security-based economy too, right? Best security in the world, best security technology, all those things come out of Israel. And some important points about the release I sent you about it is, one, they are obviously they want to implement blockchain technology for their exchanges, right? They basically want to look to and create a plan that says eventually our stock exchange is going to be cleared on a blockchain. They're going to, part of that is they're going to add provisions for the ability to create tokenized assets. Tokenized stock, of course, but tokenized other assets. But another part of this, Mehdi, is they're going to take what they've learned and offer it to the rest of the world. And they're not going to offer it for free. I promise you that. they're going to offer it for a fee. But they did the same thing with cyber technology. They did the same thing with cryptographic technology for the internet. Israel was huge in terms of security technology for the internet, in terms of things like HTTPS and innovations that came along with cybersecurity for banks, for individuals, for credit card processors, for all of those things. Israel was huge in terms of creating that, because they have the very digital economy, the very I guess tech forward economy. They have smart people. They always want to be on the cutting edge because they know that's what they have. Like that's what they have. They don't have a whole lot in the way of natural resources. They don't have a whole lot of friends around them. So what they have to do is progress with technology, and they're willing to do this. And once they do, they're going to have a much better system, I think, for handling things like a stock market, for handling all sorts of public markets using this technology. They see the value in it. And quite a few of the of the big crypto companies are coming out of Israel already. Curve, which was a company that was very big in terms of wallet management and key management and such early on, came out of Israel and was acquired, I believe, by BitGo, but don't quote me on that. But they were a huge company out of Israel. So they've been very forward, obviously, with security. Obviously, blockchain and crypto feeds right into that, and who better at cryptography than the Israelis? And so they're going to take their knowledge and their understanding and their forward-thinking economy and create a blockchain-based exchange. And then they're going to take what they learned and they're going to sell it to the rest of the world. Say, we've already done this. It's been working just fine. Now, whatever they want to do. We can trade 24/7, 365 if we want. We have tokenized assets. It works great. Here's how you do it.
We've talked about blockchain implementation into the stock exchange before. It's a very logical solution for not an antiquated system, but to modernize an existing system by utilizing blockchain technology. You can have T+0 settlement, you can have cash settlement effectively. It's phenomenal. So it's a very logical step, I guess. They're the most qualified to actually get it done.
Right. And it makes sense. And look, just like what we saw with El Salvador adapting Bitcoin, right? We see a smaller nation, albeit this time a very tech forward nation, that is adopting blockchain technology for their markets. So that's kind of what has to happen, right? The U.S. can't do it. Our markets are too big. There's too much there. There are too many things that can break. It has to be a market like Tel Aviv and like Israel. But I think that's going to be really important because they understand the technology as well as anyone.
Perfect. Looking forward to seeing how all this plays out, because, again, another reason to invest in technology for all these 401ks that keep saying that they like it. It's all being adopted. It's fantastic.
It's great. And keep it real quick, Mehdi, because I wanted to say this. You pointed this out as well. Israel doesn't need it for, because their fiat currency isn't trustworthy or their banks are not trustworthy. They see it as a more efficient technology. And another key you said is the adoption. They're actually adopting the technology. They're not just saying we're putting a whole bunch of money into Bitcoin because we think it's going to go up. They're going, this technology actually helps make our systems more efficient. And I think that's really important. Going back again to the 401k discussion of, I want to invest in something that represents that technology because I see that adoption coming.
And you said it, efficiency. It all comes with this technology. It's fantastic. Fintech company Plaid, they launched a crypto wallet connector. What does this mean?
Oh, well, this is great. I mean, Plaid is one of the biggest fintech companies, and they're the ones that connect your, from a tech perspective, connect and security perspective, connect your bank account to so many other applications. Like the biggest one that I know of that I use is Coinbase, right? So when I set up a Coinbase account and I have to link my bank account, it's Plaid that has created the go-between, these APIs that said, we're going to connect your bank, we're going to connect to Coinbase, you enter your username and password for your bank account, and that basically allows the money to flow through to Coinbase. Now the fact that they have APIs to add wallets to that says that I can, many companies are going to easily now have the ability for me to pay using my crypto wallet. And this isn't using a Coinbase account. This is using an actual Ethereum wallet if I want to. And, I think hundreds of other wallets they have access to. This is a monster deal. This is one of the biggest fintech companies in the world that has helped solve kind of this Web 2 problem. It has helped solve this fintech problem, going head on into Web 3 and saying, we are giving you an easy ability to connect your wallet. And therefore, any company that's doing business through Plaid is going to feel comfortable that they're going to actually get paid, even if what I'm paying them in is coming from my wallet. That's a monster. In the future, they've said they're setting up for things like identity via your wallet. That's going to be a big deal because they're the tech provider. They're so trusted by banks and other financial institutions for their technology and their security. And for Plaid to do this, it's kind of a game changer. I'm surprised it hasn't gotten more publicity. This is a huge game changer of making crypto adoption. It is, I can pay things now with crypto that's already sitting in my wallet. I don't have to move it to some sort of account or move it to a debit card or something. This is eventually going to give me the ability to pay straight from my wallet into whoever it is.
And you touched on it there as well. So this will put them very well positioned into Web3.
Oh, yeah. Yes, they are ahead. I mean, it's huge. And what you read from this is also they've been working on this a while. They didn't say crypto is a problem and it's a scam and all these things. They said, we're going to figure out how to work with this because people are going to start using it again. We'll go back to the Israel example. It's more efficient. It's going to give us the opportunity to process transactions. It's going to open us up to all those Gen Zs that are already using crypto. And this is just the way people are going to hold their money. And this is going to start down that road of this fundamental shift of do I use crypto? Do I use DeFi? Is this where I'm going to hold my money? Because if I can off ramp by paying my bills with it, then I might be more likely to hold my money in a crypto wallet instead of a bank.
That makes a lot of sense. And, if Brendan was selling his truck, he might have been able to use this technology to actually exchange it for crypto versus fiat currency.
Exactly. Yeah. So brendanstruck.com could have run with Plaid and I could have paid for it with my wallet.
There we go. Adam, can you believe how quickly we get through all this stuff? This is there's always stuff to talk about, and this is exciting every week. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts today, mate.
It was great. It was really fun stuff to talk about this week.
Absolutely. And for financial advisors, don't forget to check the links. You can to access digital assets and crypto education for financial advisors. You can receive a certification in digital assets so you can better serve your clients. Everyone else, thank you so much for watching and good luck investing.